Hey there, what's happening? This is Eric and
Victoria.
And we are coming at you live from our home office in beautiful Marietta, Georgia. And we're shooting this quick live video to share with you the 7 key mistakes that network marketers make. And it's like, I'm sure there are a lot more mistakes. This is not an exhaustive
And
list.
we've made all of those.
Right.
Every single one we've done.
Absolutely. But we wanted to just share some of these mistakes and what you can do to avoid them. And so without further ado, we're going to get right into it. The first of all is not preparing for objections. The thing is, you get involved in a network marketing business and you're kind of green behind the ears, and you get started and, the first thing you do, you get all excited, you talk to your friends, your family, associates, all of those great people, and they start hitting you with those objections. Oh my God, is this a pyramid scheme? Is anybody making any money with this business?
Are they taking advantage of you?
How much money are you making? Those type of things that, it's kind of difficult to address.
Yeah.
And so
especially when you're new.
What you want to do is you want to deal with those up front before you actually talk to a real, live, breathing prospect.
Have all your ammunition all lined up. You don't want to sit there as a sitting duck.
You want to practice, practice those objections so that when you respond, you seem very natural. You want to be natural. If you practice enough, it just comes naturally to you.
Yeah. Be from the heart, be real, not phony or fake, but know your stuff.
Absolutely. That's key. Number 2, energy versus hype. Okay.
Huge difference.
Oh my gosh. Hype is like the motor mouth. It's like, it just can't stop talking. And people are really turned off by that, whereas the energy is really what's in your heart. If you really believe in what you're trying to get your friends, your close associates involved in, if you've heard some strong testimonies, or maybe you have your own testimony, you have a commitment, you have a passion for it. And so then the passion shows through as long as it's legitimate, as long as it's not just hype. Hype rolls off the lips like something else,
Hype seems to me like someone who's on steroids with a lot of false energy. They're just hyped up. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't last for very long.
It doesn't.
Now, I'm not saying don't be excited about what you know and what you want to do and your future and knowing what God has for you. I'm like all for that. Be excited, but have your knowledge built in so that when people can be excited with you, you can be excited, they can be excited, but have some knowledge that goes with that excitement. Absolutely. Not just a bunch of fluff.
Absolutely. And in that same vein, a big mistake people make is not using their own story. A story that could
Why did you get in?
That could be your most valuable asset.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about someone I've never met that was on a stage 10 years ago. I want to know why you are doing what you're doing.
Very, very powerful. Especially if you're having any amount of success, a little success to you might be a lot of success for someone else.
You're right, because you don't know what people have gone through. I mean, you might think, well, I don't have anything to share. Yeah, you do. Because maybe you're building the business and you've had, situations in your life and family and financial. The fact that you even worked through it and you even had a dream is a big deal to somebody.
Yeah.
Because some people don't have a dream. Some people have lost their dream due to certain things they've gone through. So be willing to share and let people know what you've been through. That encourages somebody else.
Number 4, not being willing to fail forward. In other words, you set some unrealistic objectives for yourself, and if you don't meet those objectives, you're ready to throw in the towel.
Nobody's ever going to be perfect, and if you're perfect, you don't need to be in the business with us. Or anybody.
I once recruited a guy that said, what, I'm going to be making more money than anybody in this company. I'm like, have you ever done network marketing before? And he was like,
he's a perfectionist.
yeah, well, he wasn't even a perfectionist. He was a showboat. He's going to be driving a Rolls Royce next year. And I mean, he was just making all of these claims, got into the business and did absolutely nothing.
Nothing. He didn't even try.
He didn't build
It's not this. It's not talky. It's walkie, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't add one person to the team. So the thing is,
I don't think he ever talked to anybody.
It was kind of scaring me.
It's a pipe dream if you don't put any work behind it.
And number 5, having a product or company focus versus having a people focus. And this is where a lot of people get in trouble because they're very passionate about their business. They're very passionate about their products. And maybe they have their own testimony about the products themselves. And so they are, of course, on fire about it. But that doesn't mean that the other person necessarily needs to be on fire about your product. And so you can really run astray when you don't focus on the other person. You got to find out what they're looking for, what their needs are, what their problems are. And you got to be willing to dive deep into those problems, because otherwise you're just like making noise. And people know when you're not serious. People know when you don't care about them.
And Eric, a lot of people have different levels of commitment.
Very true.
At different stages. Just because they're not hyped up like you right now doesn't mean that won't grow into it. Give them time.
Yes.
Everybody's different.
Everybody is different. Everybody is different. That's very powerful. And number 6. Not closing, not asking for the deal.
Yeah.
Not asking for the deal. I mean, have you ever been at a meeting where somebody's put all of this effort into, cooking this elaborate meal and, the really just having a great show of, and getting a bunch of people to actually show up, and when it's over, people leave.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
And the host never asked for anybody to join their business.
That reminds me of a story. I remember that we were at a meeting, and this lady she had done a great meeting, great presentation, and the people were getting ready to walk out the door. And everybody's hugging and kissing and bye, and it's good to see you, and all the bye and bye, kumbaya, all that stuff. So anyway, as they were getting ready to walk out the door, someone who wasn't in her business walked up to the lady and said, "Did you enjoy what you heard tonight?" "Oh, it was fabulous, the best thing I've ever heard." And she says, "Have you ever wanted to do and have a business?" "I would love to." And she's walking out the door, and she said, "Wait just a minute. What's stopping you from getting started?" She says, "Nobody ever asked me." There were potential business persons walking out the door, and they didn't even take the time to ask them. They don't know. When you've got somebody new, you have to guide and direct them as if they're blind. They're blind to what's going on. They can see physically, but they may not have the vision and may not know what to do to get started.
Yep.
They don't know if it's mailed to them or if they start tonight or tomorrow or next week. So point being is, like what Eric says, you've got to close. You got to ask for the close. The Bible says you don't receive because you don't ask. Ask. Look, is there something I can do to help you get started? What is it that we need to do? Is this a good time? Are you busy tomorrow? Can we do it now? Bottom line is, they were going to let that lady walk out the door. You remember that, Eric?
I remember. I don't think I'll ever forget that. It was such an obvious example.
Hark. And she wasn't interested. Now, you know what? Had someone that wasn't in this lady's business had not approached him, and they weren't going to make a penny off of it, the next day the lady probably would have thought, well, I guess none of the people I invited were interested. You didn't ask. You never asked.
Oh, actually, there was some research done about that. And, and this was potential customers in general, what they think when you don't ask for the deal. And the number one thing that potential customers think when you don't ask for the deal is that you don't really believe what you're saying.
See, that's the way.
You don't believe in your business.
That's the way I would look at it.
You don't believe in your products. When you don't ask, people assume that you just bought them there for some strange reason, but you don't really believe in what you're saying.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, it's a real turnoff. So
it's a turnoff.
Always ask. Always ask.
You have nothing to lose. You have no, as a matter of fact, treat it as practice. If they say no, great. Every time you get a no, you're closer to a yes.
Absolutely.
It's all right.
Absolutely.
What's the worst they can do? Bite you? No, of course not.
Here's number 7. Number 7 on our list of mistakes, common mistakes of network marketers. And number 7, which I think is probably the most important of all of them, is ignoring the internet. Not leveraging your business through the internet.
Lose every time.
Thinking to yourself, all of those people that are marketing stuff online, that's them. That's not me.
It's not them. It's all of us. This is 2017, almost 2018. You are part of that. You're just not going to profit from it.
And attached to that thought is the people who think, well, you know, I'm not really tech savvy.
You don't have to be.
I'm not a technical person. Guys, let me just say it this way.
I'm the least technical person you'll ever meet.
There are some people that could barely use email that are making a fortune on the internet today because they were willing to get over that lack of confidence in themselves.
It's not about being technical, and I'm glad you brought that up. Social media and building your business diversely, online and offline. It's not about being a geek or a guru or being, you know, there are people that are great at the computer and still don't know how to build their business properly. Has nothing to do with that. That is just part of it. You don't have to be great. I would say majority of the people that are making 6, 7, 8 figures, they will tell you they weren't great at that computer. Mm-hmm. They learned as they went.
That's right.
They learned first of all, they learned what a mouse was, and they learned how to turn the computer on. That's the beginning. The rest.
And the key there is to learn what you need to learn to bring in the profits.
People in their 80s doing this.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's our brief message for this evening.
Yeah.
If you find value on the type of information we're providing and you'd like additional information, just type info in the comments below. Other than that, looking forward to a great weekend.
It's going to be awesome.
Hope you're enjoying yours so far. If not, make it a great one.
That's your choice. And always remember, excellence will always prevail.